There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win. Win.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
What is up, EOP sports fans? It's Wednesday night. It's 8:30. It's time for EOP. I'm Big Al.
And I'm Joey Sheeran.
And we are here in the midst of Dallas week, in the midst of Christmas week, in the midst of it all. Dude, I'll tell you right now, what we do here at Edge of Philly, not just you and me, Joe, but at Edge of Philly in general, we are constantly busy, constantly talking, constantly keeping each other going and up to snuff and ongoings in Philly sports in general.
Show.
So now, we have not such a great game, not the best game against Chicago, but it was a W nonetheless.
Right.
Eagles are now 13-1. But Monday morning, you find out, you wake up to the news, Jalen Hurts is injured. You're trying to get Christmas done. You got all this stuff to do, and it just doesn't end. But
was it morning or was it more like afternoon?
They were talking about it on the morning show.
Were they? Okay.
So I would have to say it was morning. I heard it on the way into work, I should say. That's what I heard about it. So. Yeah, I mean, it's kicking the teeth. But, Joe, let me ask you this question. Does it change anything in your Dallas rivalry week with the whole thing, knowing that there's a chance it ain't going to be Jalen Hurts?
No, not at all. And I have made it a point to be as obnoxious as I can in posting on our social medias against Dallas and their fans and whoever else out there wants to support these jokers, some of you Eagles fans out there. But I'll tell you this, Al. Last week, I'm watching that Chicago game, and, it's not a great first half at all.
No.
Something comes over me, and I got this overwhelming confidence in the game. And the rest of the game, I'm watching it. They're going 3 and out. It wasn't, so great. The 2 interceptions from Jalen Hurts. And in my heart, I knew the Eagles were going to win that game. There was nothing in that game when I was watching that I was boo-hooing about. I knew at the end of that game, the Eagles were going to be victorious. I don't know what it was. Just something came over me, and I knew it. The next day, the news about Jalen Hurts comes out, and I get the same feeling. And it's not because I'm rah-rah Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, we're not homers.
Which I am.
Yeah.
I am. But I know, and I look at it like this. Eagles are 13-1.
Sure.
Best team, best record in the NFL. They're locked up in the playoffs. One more game until they clinch the number 1 seed in a first-round bye and home field throughout the playoffs.
And they got 3 more games left.
And they have 3 more games left. And I know bigger picture. I know Jalen Hurts. I know he's a warrior. I know he wants to be out on that field. I honestly think it'll be 1 game he'll be missing. I do think he'll play against the Saints. We have to get that 1 game for the number 1 seed. And we also need to get that W for a better draft pick. So I'm okay, as much as I want Jalen Hurts to play this Christmas Eve in Dallas.
His health is way more
important. His health is way more important, absolutely. So that way, I'm okay riding with Gardner Minshew. The confidence came over me as well. I'm ready to ride with him. I feel like the team is rallying around him. Nick Sirianni is rallying around him. They're going to come up with a great scheme, a great game plan for him. He could drop some dimes in there. We've seen it. The ground game is going to be there. I think Miles is going to have a big game. The offensive line, the arguably best offensive line in the game. You think they're going to let anybody touch Minshew that game?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. And then you have the best defense on the other side of the ball against, not always great offensive line of Dallas. And, the secondary who is creating turnovers like nonsense. You got them up against Dak. I'm very confident in this game. I am.
Yeah, we'll get into our breakdown and how it's going to work out. But I'm with you on this, Joe. I'm not feeling like it's the end of the world.
No.
And we'll get into that in a second.
By the way, it could be worse.
Oh, it could be a whole lot.
It could be worse.
Oh, it could be done. He could be
exactly.
Yeah, totally. And that's why, I'm okay with letting him sit and rest, and even if it's something minor like
Yeah.
inflammation and swelling and spraining and whatever else have you. Merry Christmas to you, Fuge.
Fooj, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, buddy. What's up, Pat? TK here. Why isn't Hurts playing? He's fine.
You would think by watching the rest of that game and the fourth quarter itself, you would know, like, he was dropping some dimes again. I'll put it out there, dropping dimes. Like, it didn't look like he was hurt.
You know how it works.
Did not look like he was hurt.
You've done something. You've injured yourself. Even
Could
if
it be
it's not.
smokescreen?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, you've hurt yourself, even if it's not like sports related. And then like you're like, all right, it's not so bad. I can work through this. I'm fine. I'm fine. And then like the next day, you're like, oh my god, what was I thinking? This hurts. Like adrenaline and time sometimes need to set
That's
in.
a fair point.
In
Adrenaline,
inflammation.
absolutely.
So he's obviously TK. He's not fine. The answer is, how unfine is he? They use the term.
Is that a word?
Yeah, I know.
Unfine?
Yeah, not fine is he? But my point is like, if it's a sprain, and what they've released nothing about MRIs. They've released the X-rays were normal, so there's no fractures. What they were originally worried about was either a fracture or a tearing in what's called the acromioclavicular region, which is where the arm sits into the acromioclavicular region.
All right, never mind. He did it better the first time.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I wanted to see if you could say it.
It's a mouthful. But it's where the arm kind of sits into the shoulder socket here. And they were afraid if that was fractured, that could have been like problem.
Sure.
Like a 6-month problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he was out for the season in the playoffs. Like, yeah. My point is, it wasn't that. It wasn't dislocated, which was a good thing as well. They were afraid that could have happened. Like maybe it popped in and popped out.
Sure.
Because if even if it pops back in, it's not like Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon where he would like escape the straitjacket and pop his shoulder back in. By doing that, you're stretching everything out. Everything's not where it should be, and then even though you pop it back in, it's not tight.
Sure.
So you can't throw on that. But as of right now, it's a sprain, and what a sprain is, it means it's either an overstretching of something, of the ligaments, the tissue. So if it's all more precaution, and the question is, Joe, once again, I always do this to you every show. I feel anymore. Joe, you're the head coach, you're the GM, you're Howie or whatever position. If Jalen comes up to you and says, I'm 85%, I'm ready to go, what do you say?
I'm saying I'm the coach and you're sitting tonight.
Okay.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, the knowing that I have 2 games coming up, or 2 more games after this coming up against 2 lesser opponents.
Right.
One of them especially lesser in the Saints, who I think Gardner should be able to play that game. I mean, for all intents and purposes, if he never played another game until the playoffs, there's a good chance they still get that first round lockup, and they're not playing until like this January 20 or 21st or something.
That's what I was going to say. One of my worries is Jalen wouldn't play for the next 5 weeks. Is that good, or like it should be good? He'll be fully healthy and rested, but you also don't want to take him out of that groove.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's been playing so well.
TK saying rest equals rust, but not healing equals further and more detrimental injury.
True.
And TK, I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean, I go back to high school, man. I hated my bye week. My bye week was the most, it was nice to like not have to rest and kind of heal up.
I cannot believe you're sitting here comparing yourself.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Jalen Hurts and the 13-1 Eagles to Cardinal O'Hara,
Cardinal O'Hara.
Line.
Championship.
This is what's happening right now.
Championship.
You're comparing your senior year at O'Hara.
It's not senior, it's junior.
Okay,
but
junior year at O'Hara.
Champion. But my point is, I understand what he means by like just getting out of the rust, getting out of sync. And sometimes it takes a little bit to come back into it.
Sure.
And I get that, but the injury and the guy is why I don't worry about the rust as much.
Okay.
Because Jalen is that guy. Like I have that feeling about him. The one thing we were all not worried about was the intangibles. Right. That's an intangible thing of being ready. Now I know being ready like in practice versus being ready in a game time. My thing is, say he just needs to sit this game, and he could play in the Saints. If he doesn't play in either one of them because they're being very precautious, they probably give him a couple reps in the Giants game.
But can't you be precautious in your play calling? i.e., give Miles Sanders the ball. The fact that Miles Sanders had 4 carries in the first half of that game was an absolute joke.
You can, but the problem is, what's the play calling called? RPR, run pass run.
Well, yeah, and
Run,
RPO, yeah.
yeah, RPO, run pass, run pass. It means running back pass or run
Sure.
yourself. But you're giving him the choice.
Right.
So
Take that choice out of his hands. Nick Sirianni has already said that they need him and Steichen have to just have called plays for Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to be an RPO or an RPO or RPR.
Mhm.
It should just be a called, designed play, or even a little swing pass out of the backfield. Like just something to get Miles Sanders more involved that Jalen Hurts does not need to make those decisions on the fly.
TK says shouldn't want the team playing well, gaining momentum rather than sitting back and resting. Remember, the end of the last year regular season rested, bounced early. That's not what happened. They
No.
rested, yes. They got bounced because they were the lesser team against Tampa that year. They got bounced because they got figured out.
The greatest of all time here.
And that defense is for Tampa last year was
Tampa,
sick.
yes, absolutely.
And they knew exactly what to do. So that had nothing to do with the rest. 1 week's rest is not a problem. I mean, do you not want them to get the first round bye? Like, do you want them?
I'm like 80-20.
No. Here's my thing: is a good team will learn.
Sure.
Will bounce back. No, we do not want them to sit from now until January 20th. No, nobody wants that. Because that's rust. That's real rust. I do not want that unless it's an injury that calls for 3 or 4 weeks of rest.
Right.
I mean, or
everything I've read, they said that this is a 10 to 14 day rest up and heal.
Yeah.
And then it had really nothing else to do but heal. Now, if he goes in, for that Saints game, really what I've read is all about just how comfortable he is. And if anything, if he had a slight setback, again, it's just healing properly, healing fully.
Yeah.
It's not, again, this is what I read. I don't know how true it is. It's really, you can't injure it more than it is right now. You can only fully heal it, or it'll take more time to fully heal.
Sure. So I work in this industry, and if I had to get an athlete, any athletes, but a guy who throws like a pitcher or a quarterback or something who sprained their shoulder, especially in the way they did, having a large human being throw them to the ground and fall on top of them. Luckily, like I said, the things that we don't want to happen was it dislocating, tearing, or fracturing. Didn't happen, so that's a good
It's
thing.
a hard field he was getting plowed into.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not just grass; it's frozen grass.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
there's no give on that at all.
Yeah, and like we've talked about before, back in not the link, but the vet stadium back in the day was just it was like wrestling. It was like wrestling on your basement floor, carpet, concrete. Like it was, and this was probably no different, but with less carpet. Even the frozen grass hurts. But my point is, I would understand that they're probably starting them on therapy, some sort of physical therapy regimen, rest, injections.
They get back from Chicago that next day. He's in there 5 a.m. working on any PT or anything.
Yeah,
he needed.
They're checking his range of motion. They're doing a full functional capacity type thing of him. And then, like I said, they might do like an injection of steroidal injection to calm down. Because it's all about inflammation.
Right.
It's right now. Because with all the inflammation, things aren't sitting in there correctly. But like I said, I'm not that afraid with Minshew going in there doing it. Because Minshew has kind of a quirky mentality that makes him like if things start rolling, I can see him just jiving.
Oh yeah.
And listen, this is his chance. He's not going to want to be here next year.
True.
Minshew's going to, especially if
go ball out.
Especially if he gets signed. Once Jalen gets signed.
By the way, he's from Texas, so he's going to want to go down there
and show and ball out.
And ball out.
Yeah.
Show something.
John Sinner, I agree with Joe. If he's not 100%, Sid Hurts. Give Gardner a shot to win the game. We're probably good enough to win a game without him, especially the Saints game. Yeah, and that's how I think we all feel about it. I mean, yes, it kind of sucks. The one thing that sucks is like all we've been hearing about is this Eagles Dallas game for the last 4 weeks. Everybody was, especially the national media, is looking past every other team we were beating.
Right. Yeah.
So now that it's not playing out the way we want it, it's still working. It's still going to be fun. Yeah, I see it too, Joe.
Sorry, I got distracted.
And Anthony saying Steichen gets greedy with the RPO and passing 90%. Steichen should be running more on more screens. Yeah, I'm not
Agreed.
disagreeing with that. Minshew mania, like I said, I'm on board with that. Guys, this game, it's the same referee from the yes, I heard about this. The same referee from the Washington game that Goddard got injured in. Like,
There it is.
here's my thing: is does
The
that hurt?
fix is in.
I don't know. Does that hurt us or
After
Dallas?
what I saw last week in a Washington game, I don't know what the hell's going to happen here. The fix is in, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe this guy thinks he owes us one. I don't know. Like, maybe if I'm Dallas, I don't want him. I think if I'm Dallas, I don't want him in there because, like, I can see that being an issue. But yes, I did hear that earlier that the same guy that missed the whole face mask on Goddard situation and throttling of Goddard.
And then still to this day says that there was no face mask. So that ref can go pound some sand.
Our only threat is the official. We'll find out. Jerry might have paid, assuming. Yeah, that's always a possibility. I do remember that one Dallas game how many years ago where it was an interception or something. They ran the ball back and they called it back on some BS.
Oh, I do remember that. I think it was a fumble.
We lost that game in the overtime. I remember
it was a fumble. It was a clear fumble.
Clear.
I think it was like on the kickoff, and they're like, "No, it wasn't a fumble." We're like, "We're just sitting."
There was like 2 touchdowns called back on us, and that was where the fix was in.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, whether it's Hurts or Minshew, I cannot wait for Saturday, and I will not sit there and make any excuses if God forbid Dallas wins. I'm not going to say, "Oh, well, they played Minshew and not Hurts."
Why they did it? Oh, Cooper Rush.
I'm not them.
I know.
I am better than them. I will say it loud and clear. I am better than all Dallas Cowboys fans out there.
Yeah. Listen, you know that white filmy stuff that gets in your back of your mouth when you like get like a dry mouth? That's better than Dallas fans. But like let me ask you this question, Joe. So you answered a couple of mine already. Does he play? I mean, right now they haven't announced. I guess they have to announce it tomorrow since it's a Saturday game, right?
Yeah. What? Oh, yeah.
I mean, unless they announce him as a game time decision.
In fact, I'm surprised they didn't have to say something about it today.
Well, usually it's Friday on a Sunday game, so Thursday on a Saturday game, I guess. I'm going to get into this second. I'm going to flip this around. Are the Eagles this week early playing with house money? Meaning, like, if they win, it's like, okay, now we beat you without Jalen, and we swept you, and we get our first round bye, and we lock it up. Everything's done at this point, technically. And if we don't, nobody really, like, not to say nobody don't really expects it, but people expect Dallas to have the upper hand at this point.
I think it's a larger badge of FU for sure. I mean, especially the way that line moved. I mean, just because, and I shouldn't say just because Jalen Hurts isn't playing in it, because arguably he is the MVP of the league. But anybody who knows and who has seen Gardner Minshew play knows that this guy has a real shot at winning this game.
Yeah. He started games. He's played well in the past. He's not just a game manager. Or he's not Colt McCoy. Okay. He's a guy who's going to try to get a starting position somewhere.
Let me ask
you next year.
Who would you rather start in a position like this? Baker Mayfield or Gardner Minshew?
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew, 100%.
You know I don't like Baker Mayfield.
I'm just saying.
I don't believe and never believed in him.
I'm just saying because of what we saw with the Rams 2 weeks ago, with Baker coming in and you know, they were praising him over that. All I'm saying is in a comparison, I'm going Gardner Minshew 100% every single day of the week.
Yeah. Real quick, guys, as we said, Dallas is Christmas Eve, so Christmas is coming up. I know I did some shopping at Sherry'sTickets.com, so I would tell you guys if there's some last minute gifts for people, like you don't know what to get them. I just got some Phillies tickets for some family members at a steal. I'm talking a steal, and I saved additional 10% off by using the promo code EOP10 at Sherry'sTickets.com. It's family owned, operated since 1946, and you don't just get sports tickets, concert tickets, theater tickets, you name it, they got it. You save big when you go to Sherry'sTickets.com and tell them we sent you. And they'll know once you use the promo code as well. Don't forget, hey guys, we know there's some bad weather coming tomorrow. It's going to be really cold over the weekend. Car accidents happen, work injuries happen, personal injuries happen, and sometimes you get in trouble, criminal law happens. But you know what doesn't happen is you'd always get your justice. So if you need justice, you go to the man, Dave Cherry. Dave R. Cherry is your man, 610-565-0300. cherryinjurylaw.com. And don't forget another great idea if you're looking for Christmas presents, phillysportstrips.com. They have other trips coming up. I know I'm going to change the graphic after this week. I'm sure they're going to have something for a playoff game. Right now, there's nothing on the until we know what's going on. We don't know. They won't be announced till then. But you can get your bus trip to Brooklyn to watch the Sixers take on the Nets. You can go out to Philly's Yankees. There's a lot of trips. If it's all different budgets, go to phillysportstrips.com. And listen carefully when I say this one, because it might be a little confusing. But Dolan's Bar is the most Delco bar and a great place to watch the Eagles game. I was just there on Sunday, enjoyed the Eagles game. Enjoyed the Big D cheesesteak. Oh my God. Just go there and try it. Trust me, you'll be happy you did. Great drink specials, great food. I got myself some great memorabilia while I was there for like next to nothing. I got myself a Devontae Smith rookie card signed and a Jason Kelsey rookie card signed. That's right. Only at Dolan's Bar. And sometimes people just happen to be like former players. So go hang out, check it out, be part of it at the Big D, Dolan's Bar. And guys, a little bit on the scheduling this week. We have a full schedule for the most part, all the way up until Saturday morning and afternoon. We will not have a pre and post game show for the Cowboys game. We want our family here at EOP to enjoy time with their family. And Sunday, of course, we'll be off, but we'll be back in at it again, full force on Monday.
Slackers.
Yep. And check out EOPsports.com. Some great articles that just came out. Our boy Mark Sullivan, who will be on the old school show this week on Friday. On Friday.
Nice.
They're doing a show on Wilt Chamberlain. He wrote I'm talking a 8-page article on Wilt. I mean, everything like shoe size, favorite socks to wear. Yeah, like Wilt Chamberlain. Like once you read this, you'll know more about Wilt Chamberlain than Wilt Chamberlain ever knew about himself. So check it out. Plus a lot of other great articles covering
world 76,000 women.
Yeah. World Cup articles, Flyers articles, all that stuff. But back to the questions and the topic at hand here with the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a weird question that people keep bringing up. But Joe, does missing one game, just say it's one game hypothetically, comes back and plays for the Saints game, maybe the Giants game if need be. Does this affect his MVP status?
Short answer, an unfortunate answer, yes, absolutely, because that's just what these people who are voting on it are going to look at. They're going to look at the health, and unfortunately, I wouldn't rule it in there, but I am also biased, and I'm a homer. The long answer of it is I don't care. Like, I understand that getting MVP is awesome.
Sure.
When Bryce Harper got MVP, it was great. But what did the team do that season? Nothing. So it's a personal achievement, which is great for the player in hand. But to me, I personally think that Jalen Hurts, I think he would be thrilled to win it, but I think he is more concerned with what's right for the team. And not only what's right for his own health, because he knows if he goes out there too soon, it could be, an even bigger, mistake. So I don't think it's tough because I do want to see the guy succeed individually as well. The guy's playing out of his mind. And does he deserve to be MVP? Yeah, absolutely. Is it unfortunate he got injured at this time? Yeah, absolutely. Will he win MVP now? No, I don't think so. But I don't think that
because of one game though. Like, I mean, let's be honest.
Well, if he misses the one game, comes back, Saints and Giants, comes out and he plays out of his mind. Yeah, I definitely think he's back in contention.
If he plays well, let's say not out of his mind, just this one game. Like, say he plays a pretty good game.
Yeah, you know what? I think you have to wait to see what Patrick Mahomes does on Sunday because, i.e., if he gets hurt, i.e., if he just has a really bad game with turnovers.
He's had bad games.
I understand that.
That's my point. One thing I could say
is
it's
also a popularity contest.
I know, and that's the bullshit I'm talking about.
It's also a popularity
contest.
The fact that we have already seen the media, i.e., Chris Sims. By the way, who cares what Chris Sims thinks? He's not his father. He couldn't hack it on the field himself. He's talking about system.
He played like four touches in a football game one time.
Chris Sims doesn't even have enough talent in his pinky to even speak the name of Jalen Hurts. The fact that people are going by what this guy says is unbelievable in itself. Why is anybody putting any validity
Validity.
validity
Yeah,
to what Chris Sims is saying. It's unbelievable.
because they want to.
Did
It's
anybody know who
it's.
Chris Sims was until he started bad mouthing Jalen Hurts on the regular?
I mean, I knew who
Until
he
that list
was,
came out.
but like, yeah,
Until
did
the
I
list
care
came
now?
out of the 40 quarterbacks that he put above Jalen Hurts, did anybody give him the second of a day and ask what his thoughts were and his opinions were on quarterbacks? Did anybody until it became such a huge cluster F to see this list and see who he was putting above? At the time, the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia, it wasn't even him as a backup at that point. He was the starting quarterback going into the season. And we're going to take the word of Chris Sims.
Joe, you think
Phil Sims doesn't even acknowledge him as a son. I think.
I don't think it's gonna be awkward Christmas in the Sims household. uh, no, but Joe, I agree with you, but I think I know what's going on here. And I'll be honest with you. Did you really care who Mike Lombardi was until 2017 when he kept saying Doug Peterson?
No.
It was in over his head.
Right, absolutely.
He's not a real good coach.
No.
I think, but that made him popular. I think
It
this is
made him known.
okay. It's okay.
And where have
And
you heard his name since?
I
Have
guarantee
you heard
Mike
his name
Lombardi's
since?
Twitter account grew.
Oh, I'm sure.
All his clicks on his stuff grew. As you know, Joe, we see our insight on all our social media, and sometimes it's more hate than love. And it could be
Sure.
a cockroach Cowboys fan who wants to badmouth us because they think they got us. I love
It's
their
fun to troll.
I love their overconfidence. I'm like, you guys do know at this point you're the lesser of the two teams. Like you understand that, right? But whatever, let them be. They pump their chest until the game's over, and the fact that they're coming off a bad loss to the Jags, the way they did, and they're
That was
still
awesome.
wait till we beat that ass in Dallas. I'm like, all right,
Dude,
bro, all right, if you
it
think
was
so.
the first play after they switched over to the Dallas Jags game in overtime. The first play, and we got to see that pick six. How awesome was that, man?
Yeah, I'm
I
watching the
was
game. I'm
holding
like,
my daughter, and like I scared the crap out of her. I had to put her down, and like I was mantic. I couldn't believe what the hell was going on.
I was at Dolan's, and when the Eagles game was over, EAGLES cheers and all that stuff. And by the way, the Silent Night rendition of EAGLES is amazing.
I don't even know what that
If
is.
you want to add into because I don't know if you deal with what I deal with the constant Christmas music
Oh,
24/7 in my house and at work.
it's not too bad in my house. It's there, but not too.
So
bad.
the Eagles, put out their CD.
Oh yeah.
They do the music
I'm
is
gonna listen to
Silent
that a
Night,
lot,
but
yeah.
instead of Silent
Yeah.
Night, it's EAGLE. It's amazing. It's I can
I think it starts streaming on like Odyssey or something tomorrow.
yeah,
or
it's like
Friday,
real
so,
soon, right around Christmas. They
Yeah,
said
so I'm definitely going to dive into that.
the vinyl sold out in like seconds.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know. I looked into it, 75 bones, and then it was sold out.
Yeah, I was like, I
Dude, I saw people selling it on eBay like days later for like $4,000.
Yeah,
It's so wrong.
I love it though. I love it. Tell me any offensive.
What does people have?
Tell me any offensive line in the NFL that could do that.
That's
That's
true.
what I'm saying. Like that's why I love it. Like the
I get
fact that they can do that just makes me so happy.
Yeah, I get that.
And it just goes to show you what our fans are like. But like I said, I think it shouldn't. One game should not affect your MVP. I mean, people were talking about Carson Wentz in MVP status 2017 after he got injured.
Wow, come on. You knew he wasn't going to win that.
I knew he wasn't going to win, but my point is he still had enough numbers to put him in the conversation, and he was 3 games shy of a full season. And it's only for the regular season. It's not playoff based.
You know that they take that injury into consideration.
That's what I'm saying. I get that. My point is one game should not take away everything.
I think it depends on what Mahomes does on Sunday.
Like I said, there's not been one game. There's not been one game. Can you go back in this whole season where Jalen Hurts wasn't playing well and a key factor in a win? There's been games where the defense was up, where the offense was down.
Sure.
The offense was up, but Jalen Hurts was still on his game.
Sure.
Because when the offense was down and maybe the wide receivers weren't catching the ball or the running backs weren't getting very far, he was getting his legs somewhere. Like
Absolutely.
there's games where he was the lead rusher by far. And there's games where guys were having dropsies. I mean, A.J. Brown went through a quick moment with dropping a couple of balls in a couple of games in a row.
Jalen Hurts sick as a dog.
But my point is, Jalen Hurts did not have that. Even in this game, it was we all agree wasn't their best game, right?
Of course.
No. They Jalen Hurts had a 59% completion rate, but he still had 315 yards.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
He did have
the
3
two
rushing
interception.
touchdowns too.
I mean, the 2 interceptions, but he's still better interception touchdown ratio
Yeah.
than I think any other quarterback right
Number
now.
4 and 5 on the season. And I'll be honest with you, watching it, beginning of the game, I said to my wife Lex, I was like, this cold is going to affect them. Like I didn't, for whatever reason. I mean, I knew it was going to be cold. I didn't know if it was going to be snow, but whatever. For whatever reason, I did not even think about the weather and how it was going to be. Like even the receivers catching the ball, it's got to be hard as a
Oh
rock.
yeah, and stings.
Yeah.
Even if you're wearing gloves and all that stuff.
Jalen, I guess maybe doesn't have that much experience playing in cold like that. And he was saying that his hands were numb in the beginning of that game.
I think this may be where a little bit of the inexperience comes in the cold,
Right.
where he should have probably been,
Hand warmers.
yeah, like probably coached
The
better.
mitt.
Like, here, you should do this, you should do that.
Let me ask you.
Maybe he's being a tough guy. I
I'm
don't know.
watching the Bills game the other night.
The snow, they got their. They
Yeah.
said they were going to give him a 15-yard penalty. Then stop throwing
Oh my
snowballs
That
at
was
Miami.
awesome.
Yeah,
I've been to an Eagles game like that.
Yeah?
Eagles Niners. I've
Mhm.
been to a game like that, so I know how that goes. But at least in Philadelphia for that game, they gave us fair warning before the game, saying we catch you even holding a snowball, you're gone.
yeah.
That's besides the point. Josh Allen, and I don't know if this is because they're in Buffalo and it's really cold there a majority of the season, but he had the pockets
Yeah.
in the bottom of his jersey.
Sure.
Now, is that a normal thing in these cold cities? I don't think I've ever really noticed that before.
Running backs have them.
Well, I've seen
Wide
them. I've seen them
receivers
with
have them.
well, like the ones that look like the fanny packs where they
Yeah.
buckle in the back, and like, I've seen them. I've
Yeah.
seen players use them, but I've never seen the pockets in the bottom of the jersey.
Maybe not the jersey. I guess. Yeah. I guess that's different. You're right. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is keep your hands in there when you're done throwing the ball. Until you're ready, you get your hands back
Right,
in there and you
right.
warm
That's
them
what I'm
up.
saying. Like maybe if Jalen had that, maybe this is something that more
Well,
teams look into
here,
going
listen.
forward.
Justin Fields had to do the same thing a lot.
What's up,
Uh,
Sean?
a lot of people, um, a lot of people, a lot of like receivers had to catch that ball, like you said. So not just throwing the ball, but you got to catch
Yeah.
it. So I mean, everybody had to deal with
That's
it.
why I was a little surprised there was not a lot more Miles Sanders in that game.
Yeah, I want to get into that in a little bit. And this is something, Anthony, I was going to bring up ahead on my list here. Eagles employees, I heard with some coaching staff and stuff, sent 35 cheesesteaks to
Yeah.
Doug Peterson and the Jags staff for beating the Cowboys. I thought that was awesome.
That is really cool.
That's just, I mean, kind of ballsy too, but I love it.
Well, I mean, what you can't send them money.
Yeah, right.
You got to send them something.
Cheesecake Gate.
Yeah.
Here it comes, guys. Patent pending.
Ah.
Don't steal it, Chris
Yeah.
Sims.
Cheesecake.
Anthony saying Jalen Hurts should be MVP because he earned it, especially last season. Eagles went 9-8, and after it was 4-11, what at 180 degrees the Eagles turned and last this year to 13-1. See, and I agree with you. I don't think one game should deny somebody. I mean, you look, at the end of the year, if you look at the numbers in total, he probably still got better numbers, even missing one game than most other quarterbacks.
Well, yeah, but it's not most other quarterbacks who are in the race against Patrick
Well, right now the
Mahomes.
top four are him, Pat Mahomes. It goes Pat Mahomes, him, Burrow, and Allen.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, and I mean Burrow had a really rough. The fact that he's right behind him, Burrow had a really
He
rough
did,
start.
He did.
So I mean, I don't think, and Patrick Mahomes has not had a perfect season.
Oh,
So
No,
I mean,
not at all.
does the win rate not mean
Well,
anything to anybody?
I'll shout out Fred in this.
And he
and-
got beat by Josh Allen's team, who's
Right.
below him.
Absolutely.
Might I add?
But I'll shout out Fred in his video earlier because he made a point in there that was very, very logical, saying that if it was Minshew, heading this team, the Eagles are definitely a fringe playoff team. If you take Mahomes out of the equation with the Chiefs, you're looking at a 3-4-5, win team.
Sure.
And that's absolutely true.
Yeah, who's their backup in
I don't even know.
Kansas City?
I honestly don't know.
But if Mahomes got hurt and he was out this week,
That's the end of the season for them.
I mean, at least just this week, you feel that
The Eagles
there's
got,
no
they got
chance
a
of a
player's
win.
chance. They got a puncher's chance.
Yeah. I mean, they had to squeak some games out because the fact that you don't have Tyreek Hill,
They don't-
you
That's huge. That's absolutely huge. You see what he's down there doing with Miami and Tua, and with Jalen Waddle on the other side of him, and he's still putting up over 1,500. I mean, that's really impressive. What he's doing with another team. But yeah, all right, you saw what Travis Kelce's doing this season. I mean, he's having a monster season. But you look at the other weapons. I mean, they don't even have that great of a backfield. I mean, so Mahomes, he's got to be on the straight and narrow every single play. Not to say that Jalen Hurts doesn't, but Jalen Hurts does create more with his legs per se above the line of scrimmage than Mahomes. He doesn't rush the ball as much anymore.
Thank you, Aaron. That's what it
And
is.
the Eagles far and beyond have a better wide receiver duo and I guess not tight end, but a receiving core in whole.
And then here's the other thing: we've been doing well without him. Now you got Dallas Goddard back, which is something we're going to touch on.
Dallas, baby.
Yeah, in Dallas, which is amazing on its own. But it's that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. But actually, I could pull up that video if you would like me to.
Which one?
Fred played.
Yeah.
Fred did. Yeah, let me pull this up real quick.
Oh, Jalen Hurts MVP odds have dropped to plus 550, and Patrick Mahomes is now the odds-on favorite at minus 350. And the question is coming up: if Gardner Minshew plays good, that's going to hurt Hurts' chances, and if Gardner Minshew plays bad, that will help Hurts' chances. I gotta admit, I kind of don't like the question. I think it's very unfair. So if Minshew plays well, then that means what? That it was the system and that the Eagles would be 13-1 with Gardner Minshew. Now, as well as I do, the Eagles would not be 13-1 with Gardner Minshew as the quarterback. And a ton of these wins are off the diversity of Hurts' legs versus arm. He's always had the legs. What he added this year was the IQ and the reading of the defenses and the quick decisions and the pinpoint accuracy. So to make that argument, I don't think it makes him a system quarterback. And if he was a system quarterback, Jalen, the system Hurts, wasn't Joe Montana a system quarterback? Wasn't Tom Brady a system quarterback? I don't get that either. If you're a system quarterback, that just means you're playing within the team and you're playing the offense that's ran. You're making the players around you better. You win a lot of Super Bowls being a system quarterback as well. With that said, we've seen backup quarterbacks come in here and play well. That doesn't take away from whoever the starter is at that time. So does it help or hurt him? I think him being out is what hurts him the most. And if you looked at the Chiefs with Mahomes, and you look at, if we're being honest, and Hurts with the Eagles, if you took both quarterbacks off both teams, I think the Eagles fall to like a 500 team, borderline playoff team. But the Chiefs, man, don't they fall to like a 2, 3, 4, 5 win team? 5 wins at best. So even if Hurts is at his best, he's certainly the MVP of the Eagles. But Patrick Mahomes, if he wins the MVP, that's well-deserved as well.
All right, thanks, Fred. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of the consensus we've been talking about for the most part today.
Yeah, but I mean, really, to answer your question, like, do I think he's going to be the MVP if he misses a game? No, I don't.
Okay, no, I mean that's a fair, and I think you're right.
I think it sucks.
I think
but
it's
I just don't
bullshit,
think so.
but that's just me. Sean, what's going on, brother? Former NFL running back LaShawn McCoy ripped Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, calling him trash and asked his appearance on Fox Sports One Speak. Gotta love that.
I've always liked that LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Joe always loved LaShawn McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, and what does that mean? It means nothing. It just means, here's my thing: is like when we beat them, is we had Cooper Rush. So are you guys gonna be okay with that if you beat us?
No, because I don't feel like us as a fan base, we went out there and we were obnoxious about it. Oh, we beat Dallas. Didn't matter if it was Dak or Rush. We beat them, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just feel like everybody was like, we beat Dallas. Awesome. We know it was with Cooper Rush, but we got the W, and that's what mattered most because, I mean, what was that, week 5, week 6 at the time? Mm-hmm. And we were starting to really roll at that point.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah, they were the 5th win we had. Yeah.
If Gardner Minshew plays and Dallas wins in Dallas, for at least a day or two, we're not going to be able to hear the end of it. Not that we're going to take much stock in it because we don't care whether, even if they beat Hurts, we're not going to take much stock in it because we don't care what they have to say.
What's going to happen?
They will run this fact into the ground that they beat the Eagles, and they won't bring up that it was against Minshew. They'll just say, we beat the ass of the Eagles.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If they lose, they'll be quiet for a few days, and then it's going to start chirping. Wait till you see us in the playoffs in the
They'll
NFC
say,
Championship
where are
game.
your rings? Where
Oh,
are
we
your
had a guy
championships?
like that today, and I said he had a picture and showed the 5 rings that look like they're from
I know, I saw
1935.
that. Yeah.
And he had like all of them. He had our 3 rings, which were two
And-
NFL championship rings and the Super Bowl ring. And I said, well, if that graphic was maybe the past 25 years, guess
Right.
what? That graphic would look a lot different.
And I don't really push this,
Mhm.
maybe as much as we, or everybody should. But the Eagles have 4 championships, okay? It's not our fault that
Yeah.
they won 3 of them before they changed the name of the damn championship,
Sure.
okay?
Dallas
So they
had one
have 4
beforehand.
championships in franchise. They had 3 championships before Dallas was an even established team. Before they were even an expansion team, the
Yeah.
Eagles had 3 championships.
I mean-
Should we bring that up?
I mean, Cowboys last time they were relevant was 96. Washington even before that. So you want to throw those rings in there. I mean, the Giants and the Eagles, the only team in the last 20 years to show rings.
Yeah.
So if anything, even the Giants not doing great over the last few years still probably can puff their chest. I mean, at least we went to a Super Bowl parade in the last 20 years.
And every Super Bowl win was against the greatest of all time.
Yeah, exactly. And also you guys all
The
did
NFC East a real
pre-salary
Tom
cap, by the way. Once you couldn't buy your way through anything smartly, things changed. Listen, here's the thing: is Eagles and Dallas have a lot of similarities in some aspects on the numbers. Points for the Eagles are 29.4, right?
Mhm.
Points for the Dallas Cowboys are 28.1, so that's close. Points against we're 19.1. They're 19.2.
Really?
So it's very
Okay.
close there. But that's overall.
Mhm.
If you look at the last few weeks, it's not even close.
No.
It's not even close. Yeah, we semi-struggled against the Bears in some inclement weather, whatever you want to call it. You guys, I mean, we didn't do great against Houston, but it was on a short week.
Mhm.
But we still beat them by 10 points?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5.
But that's my thing is you guys sit there and chirp. Everybody chirps. But you lost to Green Bay, we beat Green Bay. Yeah, you beat some other team by 20 points. We only beat them by 10, so who cares?
They lost to the Jags. We beat the Jags.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is I love this blind. I don't know what you call it, chest puffing mentality that they
Sure.
have. Like, oh well, you got this. I'm like, listen, you say what you want about Philly fans, and believe me, we just always think we can beat you because listen, that's always the way it's been. Even when the Eagles weren't good in the 90s.
Why wouldn't you think and believe that your team could beat anybody?
And on top of it, it's not just Jalen Hurts that's making his team great. This defense is playing amazingly. The front 5 got better, the front 5 got better since they last played us.
Mhm.
They didn't have Ndamukong Suh. They didn't have Linville Joseph. Jordan Davis is back and healthy. Hassan Reddick, by the way, is a
Monster.
man possessed.
Love them.
His stats from this week do not do him any justice.
No, they don't.
Because there's some stats you couldn't read because
He's all ours.
and the thing is there's
I'm so
about
smitten.
2 or 3 either sacks or hurries that should have been added to his total.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they were holding guys, so they got called a penalty, so it wiped it away.
I will say that 2nd and 27 that ended up being a 39-yard touchdown for Justin Fields.
Mhm.
I mean, Justin Fields got out of that sack from Hassan Reddick. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that was one blunder of the game. But you look
He
at
slipped on the grass.
Right,
I mean, that was
I'm
him.
not saying. Listen, I'm not taking anything away from Hassan
You
Reddick
allow a
on that
guy
game.
like Justin Fields.
All I'm saying is he had a blunder. That was it.
You allow a guy like Justin Fields to get plenty of time to throw the
He's
ball.
quick, man. I didn't realize how fast he was.
They kept comparing him to an early Jalen Hurts' first, second year. I see that. We'll see if Justin Fields can continue it, but the Chicago Bears got a lot of work to do around
Sure.
them. I mean,
He
that's
had a lot of injuries.
but
They traded away everybody. I mean,
our takeaway giveaway at this point is 25 to 13, so that's 12 plus
Mhm.
12. Theirs is plus 9. So I mean,
yeah, they suck.
it's Mika Parsons has 13 sacks or Micah. Hassan Reddick has 12. I mean, but we also have other guys who are hitting
Right.
what was his face?
Hargrave
Hargrave.
just got his 10th.
Hargrave just hit his 10th. BG is right around the corner.
Josh Sweat got 2, I believe. I think he's up to 9.5 now.
Well, according to this is the one you posted before the game
Right,
on
yeah.
Sunday. So Hassan had his 10. We know Javon had 2 more, which got him his 10. Josh Sweat is probably a half a sack away at this point. Brandon Graham, did he have a sack?
He did not.
No, so he's still 8.5.
8.5.
But there's a very solid chance.
And Fletcher Cox is at 6.
Yeah.
So
There's a very solid chance
they're gonna break that. There's no
that
doubt.
there's going to be 4 guys with 10 sacks, and they're going to break the all-time sack record.
Yeah.
Like very solid chance.
Let's not forget that Dallas had to have a last second drive, a last minute drive to beat the Texans the week before the Jaguars.
And there was a questionable call on that kept them.
There absolutely was a questionable call on that.
So, like I said, be as a Dallas fan, sure, you should believe that the Dallas does have pieces where they could beat us. They have a good defense. They have 2 good running backs. Who
Sure.
I like Pollard more than Zeke Elliott.
A lot of people do.
But even when we weren't good over the last couple of years, we shut down Zeke Elliott.
Yeah.
Our O line, even when they were like a carousel that 2020 year, Zeke Elliott didn't do much against us. Tony Pollard's probably more of a threat to us.
I was just gonna say Zeke isn't gonna do anything. Look
Yeah.
look at what we did to Derrick Henry. Look what we did to Jonathan Taylor. I mean, those two are arguably the 2 top backs in the league,
Mm-hmm.
and we snuff them. We stuff them out. And
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott, I have absolutely no worries about. If I have to choose one of them to be worried about, yeah, it's Tony Pollard, no doubt about it. T.Y. Hilton, he ain't doing nothing. Get out of here, T.Y.
T.Y. But I mean, I think Dak has 9 interceptions, and he missed
Probably.
the first bit of the season.
Probably.
I mean, like, guys, I know it sounds like we're homers, but Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than
There's no doubt. Come on.
Dak Prescott.
There's no doubt.
I think I'd rather have, what's his name, brother, Tad?
What a chode.
Yeah, Chode Prescott. I think it would have been
In
a better name.
conclusion, don't be a tad.
Yeah, don't be a Tad. But like that's my thing. Is like, guys, like, everybody should go in here. This should be a good game.
Yeah, it should.
Great things to have on Christmas Eve when you're with your family, gathered around, eating well, drinking well, being merry, hopefully enjoying the holiday. But like I told my wife, I ain't dressing up, sweetheart. It's Eagles green through and through. Like Eagles socks, hat, jerseys, shirts, maybe even pajama pants. Anything with the Eagles on it, it's going to be worn.
Now, with it being Christmas Eve, with the family, all cheery, drinking the rum chata, or your red wine, whatever have you, Eagles get blown out. Will you be taking it out on the family that you are surrounded by?
On the family anyway. I mean, listen, losses will dictate my attitude, but maybe the fact that it's Christmas the next day will help it not be as a burn.
Right.
And like I said, I'm not expecting us to destroy them, it's not a letdown game if we don't win without Jalen Hurts. Like right now, I guess it's kind of that house money mentality right now.
Will Dallas people say, okay, it is Jalen Hurts, it's not the system? Will they be able to come back?
Who cares what they think?
I love it.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
here's the
leave it
thing:
at
is like it's funny how that system thing everybody got upset about, but now suddenly
I know.
Jalen's not playing. Everybody's
know.
like, well, we have a good team around him. Well, that's true. Like we do have a good team and but look at Patrick Mahomes when he was going to the Super Bowl. He has one of the greatest tight ends in the game playing.
Mhm.
He had one of the greatest and fastest wide receivers playing. He had very good defensive line, very good offensive line. And what happened? When he lost the Super Bowl, his offensive line was hurt and he couldn't play.
Yeah.
So that makes
They
zero
lost 2
sense.
offensive linemen the night before the Super Bowl.
Show me one Super Bowl where a team won and had a really good year, and only the quarterback was good, but the rest of the team was mediocre or less.
Right. And I almost feel like to say being a system anything and being it being downlooked on is just ridiculous. Because wouldn't you want the system to be as strong as it can be and everybody, aligned and firing on all cylinders at the same time?
Mhm.
There is no I in team. There's a me in MFer, as we know Kobe saying.
Yeah.
But still, there's no I in team. This is football. It's 11 on 11 on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
It's not 1-on-1. This isn't, and
Dak Prescott wouldn't beat Jalen Hurts.
No.
It would be the defense.
Pro Bowl skills challenge. Hurts versus Prescott. Put it on the field.
My point is,
1-on-1.
it's the defense plays a factor in this. This offensive line right now is very healthy. Landon Dickerson looks like he's playing we post videos all day long of just clips of Jason Kelsey, Landon Dickerson, by a lot. They are tossing giant human beings around like they're nobodies, like they're children. It is, you got to get through that to get to Gardner. You guys, they act like we have like the Swiss cheese O line. You know, and listen, yeah, the Eagles' rush defense isn't great. Yeah, it wasn't fixed. Yeah, the special teams wasn't great. It's fixed. Maybe it's not the greatest, but they're doing much better.
Do you think the Eagles going into Dallas and getting a W on Christmas Eve is with Minshew under center would be more than if it was at home with Hurts? Do you think it would just be more of an overall proving of the team
Yeah, no, I think if Minshew wins this under center, it just goes to show you that this
on the
team
road
on the road,
on Christmas
third game in
Eve?
a row on the road, might I add.
Yes.
You know that, yeah, that it's a huge tell. Like this team has,
Does the media
but that's
finally
what you
own the
want. Like you
respect?
just said, Joe, you want your team to be good all around.
Right.
You can't have like, listen, there's been like teams that won championships based on a really good defense, and like Chicago Bears, they made to Super Bowl based on a really good defense.
A few Super Bowls like
Yeah,
that.
based on a really good defense and a mediocre offense. Rex Grossman. Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, even the great Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl was not him. It was Von Miller, and that defense was
True.
amazing. I mean, he was benched for Brock Osweiler, for the love of Christ. I mean, he did that. So yeah, there is extenuating circumstances, but overall, good teams, good offenses make it. Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, how to have good wide receivers, clutch guys around him. Yes. Did he make them better? Yes. Did he have really good O linemen? Yes. Did he have good running backs? Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, did he have good defenses on top of it? Yes. I mean, that's my point. Like, that I don't know. I understand how that doesn't play a factor in anything. Like, anybody just looks for a reason to tear anybody down. Dave Yarnell, our not so our favorite, least favorite Cowboy fan, whatever you want to call him, says Parsons hasn't practiced in the last 2 days due to being ill.
He's playing.
I mean, I think he's playing. I mean, look at AJ Brown popped a blood vessel in his eye,
Yeah.
vomiting. I mean, yeah, there's stuff going around.
Dude, it was like that for like 3 weeks still.
Yeah, there's stuff going around, and especially it's just like kids at school. These guys in the locker room are
And
all.
by the way, for everybody out there, he's not really a Raptors fan. Again, it went with the color of his sweatshirt.
Who?
AJ Brown. Everyone starts like, oh my God, he wore a Yankees hat last week. Oh my God, he wore a Raptors hat.
How many
It
times?
matches his clothes. Who cares?
How many times you see people wearing something? Like I get people come in my office. I'm like, oh, you a Bulls fan? No.
Yeah.
Like you're wearing a lot of Bulls. Oh, I was wearing my red and black today. Okay, that's fair. That's what you want. You're just doing it for the colors.
I know someone who does that.
Yeah. Hey, whatever.
Tom Austin.
Yeah, right. I knew that's what here you go. But no, like my point is this team is really good. Taking Jalen Hurts out does take us down a couple pegs.
Sure.
But not out totally.
I'm telling you, man, when the news came down, like I was bummed, but I wasn't like
I was more worried
wasn't
about
that
the
bad at all.
severity, like waiting for the MRI results, waiting for I wasn't worried about is he going to play on Sunday?
Right.
I was more worried about if he's going to be out. It's only going to be a
My
couple
first
weeks.
thought was, is this a smoke screen? I bet he's still going to play. Blah blah blah. But as the day went on,
Yeah.
and I, started to realize that they're really taking this seriously. They're already saying there's a really good chance he's doubtful for the game on Saturday, and it's looking like Minshew. And I'm telling you, the world was not crumbling around me.
Mhm.
It really wasn't.
And by the way, that PointsBet commercial, that girl on the golf course is
Ugh.
just a complete smoke show.
Paige.
Paige.
I don't know her last name. I just know Paige.
Don't need it.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Page Smoke Show. It's her last name. God, they know how to sell me on
They
something.
really do.
But I mean that. So do you want to give a prediction? Player of the game? Anything?
Player,
Dallas Goedert run rampant.
I'm gonna bet.
I mean, he could be a great safety valve for a guy like Gardner Minshew.
You know what? And it's funny.
Dave Yarnold thinks that Cowboys fan believes he plays on Saturday.
Shocker.
He also wanted us to sit him. Did you? By the way, Passing That Fanatics. You catch Dave on there with them on Saturday mornings. A couple Saturdays ago, I believe Dave, it was not the last Saturday. When they're like, "Well, what? Aren't you afraid he's going to get hurt? Maybe you should sit him." I was like, "You don't sit guys in the middle of a season because you're afraid of their game. If you're such a China doll, you should not be playing football." Dave, that was one of the craziest takes you've ever had. But
I was talking with my cousin Dan Sheeran. Shout out Dan Sheeran. He's out there in LA coming into Jersey tomorrow for Christmas.
oh yeah,
He was asking me about Dallas Goedert, if he's coming, fantasy football playoffs, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, listen, I think Minshew is going to need all the help he can get. So I can see Dallas Goedert, up the middle of the field getting some yak. I can see that happening a lot. Like if I'm going to go out with a bold prediction, I'm going Goddard hitting the century, hitting the 100-yard mark. I can see that happening.
what's he at right now?
And 0. The game hasn't started.
Oh, you mean 100 yards? I mean 100 yards in the game. I'm sorry.
I think he's going to go 100 yards in the game.
Okay.
I can see that happening more than throwing it downfield to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. I think it's going to be a real heavy Dallas Goedert game, and I think Miles Sanders is going to get a huge amount of touches.
Well, yeah, I
26. I'm going 26 touches for Miles Sanders.
I believe this is going to be a close game, maybe 3 to 4 points. But like I said, their offense had to go up against our defense. I think it's going to be like a mid-20 to high teens type of Eagles win. I don't want to give an exact number, but somewhere in that range. So you know, 19, 20, 24, 19 or some crazy number like that. But yeah, I agree with you, Joe.
27-17.
You can go 10 points. All right. I like it, Joe.
It's a 2-score game.
All right. I like it. I mean, listen, a guy like Gardner has not had any game speed play yet. So, yeah, running the ball, handing off the Miles makes sense. Yeah, a safety blanket over the middle where, let's be honest, Dallas is a little soft there.
Sure.
Like Dallas Goedert, who is just hungry to play. It makes sense. Like it's not. I don't think you have to be a offensive genius to figure this. You don't need a round table of 9 dudes to tell you how this is going to play out.
Like this is what is a tell for me for the game is when I'm not just saying Eagles defense, but I'm talking about their secondary in general. I'm talking about Darius Slay being on CD Lamb. I'm talking about what the hell is his name? Bradbury being on Michael Gallup. I'm talking about Marcus Epps in the back spine. I'm talking about our linebackers who is going to, either Dalton Schultz covered, not worry about Zeke getting to the second level. Tony Pollard's going to be a little bit of a problem. I do think so on that. But there is nothing from Dallas's offense that I don't think that we're going to just blanket cover with our Eagles, our defense and our secondary. I have no worries about this game. I'm getting too cocky. I have worries about this game, but
yeah,
it's not too much.
Listen, you would have worries about this game going into it with
Dallas
Jalen
is not a
Hurts.
bad team. I'll give them that. Like I'm not
going to
a Dallas fan who's going to just rip the Eagles saying, "Oh, they suck." Blah blah blah. No, Dallas is a pretty good team. I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to take too much away from them. They have players who can play. It is any given Saturday for this point. I do think it's going to be a good game, but I do think the Eagles are flat out the better team, regardless of who is under center.
I 100% agree. And for those who are just joining us, because probably the Sixers haven't won 113-93 over the Pistons. That's 6 straight in a row, bringing them to 18-12 on the season. I don't know if any other teams are playing. I would have to look that up right now. Also, I'm gonna try to grab this. Somebody sent this to me, and this is something, it's not sports related, but it's newsworthy. Today was the final speech, the final farewell to Jim Gardner.
Yes, I'm glad you brought this up.
I'm going to try to pull up the speech for you guys. So go ahead.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So, Joe,
wait a minute. What time was the final performance or the final broadcast?
Hold on.
I taped the 11 p.m. news thinking that was it. I was going to watch when I got home. Damn it. Was it 6, 7?
I guess it was the 6. Because somebody just sent it to me, so I'm gonna see if I can pull it on.
Yeah, try and pull that up.
But one thing I wanted to bring up to you is Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of the national pundits are saying he could be back Christmas Day, but Doc kind of I don't know, maybe this is
what time is that game Christmas Day? I want to say noon.
Yeah, it's like noon or 1 or something.
Okay.
It's very early. He's saying he's playing it off now. This could just be a smokescreen as well. That it would be maybe another week or 2. At least
come on. Wait, they're saying it's either in 3 days or a week or 2.
He never said an exact date. He said he's not that close.
I saw the caption and I took it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. But I mean, are you okay with waiting as long as humanly possible?
I mean, if they keep winning, I mean, they won 6 straight, and to be honest with you, if you put them in now, does it ruin any type of chemistry? We talked about it before. When he returns, what do? I personally bring him off the bench and roll with what you got for now because listen, the Sixers are really starting to play some good basketball. And sooner or later, they will start racking up, the seeds. They will go from 4 to 5, 4 to 3, and maybe as high as 2. Right now, who's in first? Boston's in first. They're playing out of their minds right now.
Milwaukee?
Is it Milwaukee?
I think they're a half a game ahead
Okay.
of Boston.
Well, listen, the top of the East is very hard,
and they're only 4.5
really well.
going into this game. They're only 4.5 point games
Right.
behind
They could have cut it
the
by
top
half,
seed, and there's 4 teams in front of us.
Yeah.
Or no, technically it's 5. We were the 6. We're the 5th seed.
So the
They have 4 teams. Yeah. So yeah.
Embiid is leading the league in scoring. James Harden is playing as good as we expected him to come in here. Like he wasn't the James Harden.
I think he's better. I think he's better than I expected.
Well,
I
he's
think
not
he's
the
looking
James Harden of 3, 4, 5 years ago, where he's coming out and scoring 60 a game, but he was also taking every shot.
Yeah,
in
but
those
he's
games.
got that more mature game leader.
Sure, absolutely.
Like everybody seems to be finding their role a lot different, like better, like accepting their roles. Like I said to you before, the thing is like I've been kind of keeping a close eye on. Like I like to pick players, keep a close eye on them. And I've been one of like, oh, well, you're going to trade somebody or trade the bias for this guy, for this guy.
Do you need to trade it for anyone?
That's what I'm saying. Like when did he become Mr. Catch and Shoot? And like a gosh darn sharpshooter in the process.
Maybe with these other players around them, the Daniel Houses and of course James Harden, PJ Tucker. Maybe it's transforming him into a different type of player, a different role within this team.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Anything's possible.
He kind of found it. It took a little while. And listen, like you said, to your credit,
year 4 of a 5-year contract.
But to your credit, this team has changed and altered a lot.
Yeah.
And you said that. And I agree with you. Like sometimes it's hard to find your groove. And the guys constantly talked about in trade rumors. So I can understand why maybe he doesn't feel uber welcomed.
Yeah, and we talk about it.
Mike Laro still pushing the trade Embiid now line.
I feel like we talk about every single year. Guys get injured. Of course, there's always a rotating starting 5 with this team when it comes to each offseason. They never really have time to play 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks together without somebody getting hurt. So now finally, except for Maxi's still sidelined, but these 5 guys that are out there now have played an extended amount of games right now, and they are finding their groove within each other's style of play on the court, and they are starting to gel. They're starting to win some games, and they're going to start climbing the seeds as the season goes. Talk about it last week, 2 weeks ago. We saw what Boston did last year. They started off awfully, and then they ended up in the NBA Finals. And could that happen with the Sixers? Sure, why not?
Yeah, and like I said, guys finding and people knowing their role is so important, especially when you got a lot of stars like Embiid and Harden. And the question is, where does Maxi's role coming in? Come into it when the time comes. Let me pull this out. Sorry, guys.
We're gonna be able to hear this?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull this up in a second. I have a lot of people said they got teary-eyed on it.
Okay.
And I can see that. Like there's certain times, guys, that you didn't like we forget.
I hope I don't, but
he has been part of our lives, Joe, forever.
Oh yeah.
The guy's been doing it as long as we've been alive. So it's pretty amazing. And just total utter respect for the man, Jim Gardner. Joey, at the end of the day, we still have Doc Rivers. Fair. Don't forget, that's part of it.
That's absolutely fair to say.
What's up, fellas? Merry Christmas from Las Vegas. Rob, love you, brother. Jim from Philly Press Box Radio, Knock 'em Dead Boys. Thanks, Jim. By the way, guys, if you missed, their show was on right before ours. Great interviews, by the way. Fred Barnett joins them. They always have an annual visit with Fred Barnett, for former Eagles running back for those, or a wide receiver for those who maybe forget.
Hitting that goofy juice earlier?
Huh?
Were you hitting that goofy juice?
I wish I was. I wish that was my reason.
It's all right. I can't talk tonight either.
But yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna mute us, and we're gonna put on.
Yeah, I definitely.
Jim. It's only about 2 minutes long, guys.
All right, cool.
For anybody from the area, or you were from the area, you know who Jim Gardner is.
You are a shining star, and I can feel the light of my other children even from a distance. Permit me a final word, if you would. The American free press has been under attack not by forces from other countries, but from elements embedded in our own society and even our own government. It worries me deeply. And it both feeds into and exploits people's lack of understanding of what the founders intended, the kind of democracy that the U.S. and only a handful of other nations aspire to. Thomas Jefferson said to John Jay in 1786, "Our liberty cannot be guarded but by the freedom of the press, nor that be limited without danger of losing it." Jefferson would concur. No, we are not the enemy of the people. Serving the people, you, the people of the tri-state area, with responsible and unbiased journalism, this is our mission now and in the future. And if we falter, you damn well better let us know, for your benefit and for ours. Brian Taft will be sitting in this chair tomorrow night at 6, and I won't be terribly surprised if he is still sitting here decades from now. Funny how that seems to happen here at Action News. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is next on Channel 6. And then please join Rick Williams, Cecily Tynan, and Deuces Rogers for Action News at 11 here on Channel 6. For the entire Action News team, I'm Jim Gardner. Good night.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I'm not tearing over.
Yeah.
A part of we're watching. A part of me is going, I don't know if we're allowed to show this.
You know, a 2-minute clip. I think we're okay. Like, I don't think Action News is going to get upset about playing.
I did hear that people were outside the building tailgating.
That's why I love this city.
I saw somebody.
I love these people.
Tell
like,
us you're from Philadelphia without saying you're from Philadelphia.
Yeah, tailgating the last sign off from Jim Gardner. Yeah,
I wish I thought of it.
Yeah, now, like I said, like, you know, we forget he was part. Like, he was always in the background as kids growing up. Our parents are watching, and we started watching. So now, and he's been like a true Philly guy, and that's why he was great. And he's, you know, who would he say? Who was the guy who's taking over for him?
Brian Taft.
Brian Taft. No, big shoes, bro. Big shoes. But back to the Sixers talk.
Yeah.
So I just, somebody sent me that. I thought it was very apropos to play. It was the last sign off he had today. God bless you, Jim Gardner. So yeah, like Tobias, like I said, like you know, he's in the last few games. He didn't play against the Warriors, but not including tonight's stats. He's playing on an average of like 39 minutes a game. Against the Hornets, 21. Against the Kings, 21. Against the Hornets again, 17. Lakers, 14. Rockets, 27 points. 3-pointers in those games. Once again, the Hornets 5 for 7. Kings 2 for 7. Hornets 7 for 12. 2 for 6 against the Lakers, and 7 for 8 against the Rockets. If he can just keep doing that,
Jesus Christ,
that's all we need. We don't, like, I think everybody thinks everybody's got to be 5 Joel Embiids or 5 James Harden out on the court,
right?
And hitting threes and all this stuff. No, you need guys role play. Like, I'm even like, I was poo-pooing PJ Tucker for a very long time, and to Fred's credit, he's been on our asses. You know, like, yo guys, this is what he's here for. He's never been like that. He's the aggressor. I saw that the other night in the overtime win. Okay. When that game shouldn't have went that far, but I did see it, and he was the aggressor, getting the boards, getting the ball, keeping it out of the hand of the other team against Toronto, I should say.
Right, yeah.
And we won that game because of that, because nobody scored a lot of points in that OT. It was just that they kept them from scoring more points, and PJ Tucker was a big part of that.
Definitely.
So I'm liking what I'm seeing. I still have my thoughts on Doc Rivers as well, but at this point, if you're going to take away from him, Joe, you have to give him credit when they're starting to play well as well. Like, now it's the consistency factor. I'm hoping that they don't change too much when Tyrese comes back. I really still think he should be the sixth man.
I do too.
Like, I don't understand. Like, it's not a stretch. And you try it for a little while. If it doesn't work out, we move things around. But having another shooter that can come off the bench of Tyrese, I know he can put up 20 plus points a game. We know we can do that. But if you can give a guy like James Harden a spell, I mean, James is an older guy. Embiid, we all know, is all this load management, the term we hear a lot. James Harden's going to make that happen. It means you're going to have fresher legs, James Harden, coming to the playoffs.
There's no doubt about that.
So I just really hope Doc is listening and because he's an arrogant dude. You can see it in his pressers. You can see how he talks to people. You know, he won one time and he thinks he doesn't have to learn or change in the way he acts. But I'm hoping he does, man. Maybe a little Christmas miracle, if you want to call it that.
It ain't gonna happen.
No, probably not. But you know, like I said, he finally I like how Tobias found his role in this team. I know it's a small sample size, but it's still a pretty good sample size. The fact they have been missing a guy like Tyrese Maxey, because the problem is like, you know, there's only one ball to shoot, only so many points that can be scored. You know, a 50 burger from Embiid is not going to be something you see all the time because James Harden is going to have the ball, but he's facilitating. Can I imagine that James Harden is like the other thing number I kind of left out for you? 7-4-9-4 and 4. Oh yeah, and 4-7-4-9-4 rebounds from Tobias Harris. James Harden has a lot of rebounds too. Like they're finishing up. Like before was very lackadaisical. The turnover ratio was very high. The transition was always an issue for like how many years now. Transition defense is like goalies and Flyers hockey. Like it's hard to find a good one and keep it.
Yeah, and then you finally get one, and then the fans want to say, "Oh, trade him away."
Yeah, exactly. We'll get a little Flyers talk for a moment. Yeah. Joe, are you buying in on the Sixers now? Is it just they've been playing lesser opponents, or playing opponents who like picked the Warriors when they did play them? They did not have their superstar in there,
Curry or Green. It doesn't matter. Listen, am I buying into them? I am. And it's not because of who they're playing. It's because I see how they are playing. And I see how, again, I go back to what I said, 5-10 minutes ago, whatever it was, that these guys are playing together for X amount of games now, and they're seeing how they fit in with the guy next to them and how they play off of each other. You were asking them how Tobias Harris, how is he now a catch and shoot? Because now he has the option to be a catch and shoot. He doesn't have to be a guy that goes out there with all the weight on his shoulders, thinking that he has to be the third superstar on the court. No, you arguably have 4 or 5 superstars on the court. They brought these guys in here to play a role. We talk about Tucker and his scoring, and what you said about Fred was absolutely right. He's in here to be the aggressor. He's now doing exactly what we wanted him to do. He is setting up in the corner. He's hitting threes now. He's starting to shoot the ball more and a lot more effectively.
Yeah.
Because now he has the other players that he can play off of.
Yes.
And you're not going to have a Joel Embiid who scores 40 to 50 a night and then expect Harden to score 40 or 50 a night.
No.
Tobias 40 or 50.
They're not putting up 100 points on 2 guys alone.
Exactly. And now they had a stretch of like 3 games where they were hitting like 130 plus a game, which is great. But you're not going to get those games consistently as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are going to be some games where Embiid is off, or Harden's
certain
off,
times,
or
certain
when Maxey
guys
comes back, he could be off.
Yeah.
It all will come together the way that we are seeing right now.
Mm-hmm. And there's certain times, certain teams give us, like Toronto, for whatever reason, always gives us fits. Siakam always seems to have good games against the Sixers. So, no,
I was surprised it came back that much.
Yeah, no, listen, that's another thing that they got to work on, and I wonder if that's where a Tyrese Maxey is a closer. Like, when we got to give these guys...
Doc's saying that Embiid's closing out every game.
Well, no, but I'm not saying like closer like the last 2 minutes, but that moment in the beginning of the fourth, middle of the fourth, where you have to take Embiid or Harden out to give them a spell so they're not winded the last couple minutes of the game. If you could take him out and put Tyrese Maxey, who could still score 15 plus points a game off the bench.
He averages like 20.
Well, I mean, maybe if he's off the bench, that changes because his play time. They might decrease his
play. He's aggressive too when he comes off, whether it's the bench or the starting 5. When he gets his moments, he is very aggressive. He attacks that paint. He can get in there. He can shoot the ball from 3. He will average 20 again. I don't care where he's coming from.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to see that the guys are finding roles. I'm happy to see that because this was a really rough stomach, hard thing to stomach. If it wasn't for the Phillies when they're run, we would be really down on these Sixers.
Yeah, and again, I still think that it was because of the success of the Phillies that the Sixers didn't feel like they had to do anything in the beginning of the season.
True. I mean, yeah, sometimes when you have the heat taken off, you don't have the spotlight on you. It's easy
Yeah.
to kind of skate through something. Real quick, guys, I do want to touch on a little Flyers and Sixers, or Flyers and Phillies. Real quick on the Flyers, not much to talk about. They had a couple wins recently, but in the overall scheme of things, it doesn't make a big difference. But yeah, they won against a Devils team that's kind of fallen off a
Yeah.
little bit, as well as a Blue Jackets team who's just as bad as they are. So, but
Don't want to talk
overall,
too much about that.
yeah, what?
So don't want to talk too much about them, like those games.
Yeah, but the one thing is, Cam Atkinson is out for the year. He's having season-ending surgery to his neck. Neck surgery is a big thing.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
All I saw was upper body injury.
Yeah, they say neck surgery on what I read.
Okay, because I saw it labeled as possible career threatening.
Right.
So
Anything with the neck.
So to the neck, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that makes sense.
That's definitely possible career threatening.
The one thing is, Joe, I don't know how much you followed it, but Torts benched
Yeah.
Kevin Hayes for one game. What do you see? Was the head scratcher on you on this one?
I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, that one was
and
really.
You know what sucks is like,
and I've been talking to Matty B, and
Yeah.
he's doing clear the ice every Flyer after the post game every Flyers. And actually Pat Bernard has been helping out a lot with that too.
I think I saw him on there last night.
Yeah, they've been pumping out articles and covering. I've been reading up on it, but it's just that one move just didn't make sense to me.
Well, and I hate to put it like this, but when something like that does happen, I kind of do look at contracts, and he has one of the biggest contracts. In fact, it might be the biggest on. No, never mind. Couturier has the biggest. But either way, getting off point. Kevin Hayes is one of the biggest contracts on the team, and he's been playing very well. So I don't know if this is just kind of like a message to everybody else on the team that, hey, if Kevin Hayes can get benched or a healthy scratch, then anybody else can too.
That's
But
what I was wondering.
If that is the message, that is completely irresponsible of John Tortorella.
Yeah. I mean,
100% irresponsible.
It is now. Let me ask this question: if Kevin Hayes is just not playing, because the game he came back,
He's playing well.
He played about 12 and a half minutes, and a quiet 12 and a half minutes. Didn't do much in that 12 and a half minutes.
The whole team's playing quiet minutes.
But I'm just saying, what do you gain from this?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't gain anything.
I guess
I don't know. Is Tortorella just saying that he's King Dingaling out there? I don't know.
I don't know if it's him saying King Dingaling. I think it would be more what you were saying in the beginning, making an example, anybody can be benched.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
By doing that, making the example, it's saying, hey, I'm the King Dingaling. What I say goes, and rightfully so. He is, he is the head coach. But I don't know. Some of his methods just is head scratching. But I will say to the Cam Atkinson thing is as soon as that name came or that news dropped, it instantly started going back to tanking hard for Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
Canadian junior hockey player. Who is looked at as generational, and he's going to be the first overall pick. So if that's the route they're going, I'm not so.
Well, remember they did change there's ping pong balls and stuff involved with it.
But
so
if you're that
there's
shitty,
no guarantee. But
if you suck that much, and
you will have a higher percentage. You will have a higher percentage. Well, let's switch gears. There's a little Phillies talk. One small piece of Phillies contract talks, but it's not any player.
Right.
Sam Fold, the GM, was extended on Monday through 2025. So
works for me.
Works for me. Whatever. Let's be honest. We all know who's. It's
Right,
kind of like Elton Brand's the GM of the Sixers. Okay, sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That's a great comparison.
Yeah, it's
because
we all know
Elton Brand, we know exactly who it really is.
And I guess he doesn't care as long as they're winning. He gets to take credit for it. But anybody knows every time they talk about bringing somebody in or getting a big free agent, it's Dombrowski,
right?
The operations guy. Let's be honest. So it is.
I bet Chuck Fletcher is like, oh, I wish there was somebody who can take some of the credit for all these miscues.
Yeah, right. But one non-Phillies but Phillies related piece of news. So it looked like Carlos Correa was going to be a Giant, San Francisco Giant, and match Harper for the longest contract.
Yeah,
It was about the same thing, right? 13 years,
13, 350, something
350, something like that.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the night,
I think it was going to match the years, not the dollar.
yeah, not a dollar amount. But in the middle of the night, something happened. No, they're saying medical issues, which was not only back issues, so there was something else.
Yeah.
But now it's not. This isn't definite either. But apparently, the Mets stepped in and got him at a little bit less of a pay. But it's 12 years, 315 million. And he'd be playing third base, by the way.
That's what I was questioning.
Yes. That was the one thing I wanted to point out because he was a shortstop, but he'd be playing third base.
Lindor's there.
Lindor's sitting there.
Who's their second baseman? I was thinking of
it's not Alonso.
I didn't even. No, he's first base.
First base.
I didn't care to look up. It's the Mets. I can't stand the Mets.
I'm trying to think.
So I didn't care to look it up. But my whole thought process was, what the hell is he going to play?
When's his first? Oh, was it one of the guys they picked up? Hold on.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's the Mets. What are they going? They're doing Mets things. Like one of the things I heard, and I read it. You know, I'm not even gonna say because I don't know. It was kind of silly, so I don't even know what it was. You know, fuck it. Sorry, excuse my language. I'll just say it to you. Between you and me, this is what I read. That apparently, you know what? It's so silly. I want to say it, but it's so silly. I think apparently Correa's insurance company would not pay for the physical for the Giants, so the Giants asked him to pay out of pocket, and then he said no, and then the Mets swept in and said we'll pay for that. Like, all right, forget I said anything. That's how silly it is.
If this is true, it's silly.
I know.
I mean, you're about to pay a guy $350 million.
Right.
And you have to pay out there more because the taxes in California are redundant.
Right. And the only reason I'm sitting here saying it to you right now, because I know how silly it sounds, is because the guy who put it on Twitter had a blue check mark.
Yes.
He was verified.
Verifiably certifiable. Whatever you want to
Never heard of him before.
But if that's true, you're about to pay a guy $350 million.
I'm just going to clip out. It's fine.
No, it's fine. But like, if it's true, you pay $350 million to a guy. How much do you think this thing costs?
Right.
Say it's $1,000. At this point, what's another $1,000 if you have the shortstop of your future? Like you just signed a big time free agent.
I know.
So if that's true, that's just the Giants organizations are morons.
But also,
but then again, if he's doing it, he's taking less to go to the Mets.
Right. And Carrera, he could lose an arm in the next few weeks, and it wouldn't matter to the Mets because they're throwing stupid money at everybody.
So that was my point. So
Nemo,
Joe, you said
53-year-old Verlander.
So you when they signed Verlander, I love the fact that we get to rock his world a few more times.
I can't wait.
Or rock his wife's world too.
Showing.
But yeah, I looked that up too. So I was looking at that. So I said, yeah, it's 12 years, 315. All right.
Irresponsible spending.
They are close to $100 million in tax.
It's unbelievable, but in my thought process, $100 million is what I thought of.
They signed. They signed. Was it Kadai Senga?
Yeah.
Right. They signed Justin Verlander, Jose Quintana.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
David Robertson.
I did not know about that at all.
David went to. And no offense, I love Dave, but they can have him.
Oh, that's fine.
They re-signed Brandon Nimmo.
Right.
They re-signed Edwin Diaz.
Right. Yeah.
Stupid trumpet playing crap. And then, of course, they're already paying Pete Alonso, Max Scherzer, and Francisco Lindor is getting paid. So, with all that being said, yeah, they're the $100 million luxury tax.
I know. Remember how far they went into the playoffs? What was it, World Series? No.
No, they didn't make it past. They didn't even keep the 12. They were ahead 12 games going into September, Joe.
I know.
12 games lead,
division,
and they couldn't even win the division.
Who beat the division winners?
I love every last second.
The Phillies.
Yeah. And who beat? All right. Also, who beat them? Who beat the team that beat them in that divisional playoff game?
We did.
The Phillies.
We beat the Padres
handedly. Might I add? Handedly. You guys couldn't get one win. They got one win out of us out of 5 games. So
who went to the Padres? A big name just went to the Padres. Was it Xander?
Well, yeah, Xander Bogart went. So there was a big shortstop like
Yeah.
flooding. I thought maybe it would hurt these guys a little bit in the cost, like because there's so many of them.
Right.
But we got one, of course. They got Bogart. We thought San Fran was getting Carrera, and I think Dansby
He
went to
the
Chicago.
went to the Cubs, yeah.
I think his was like a 5-year deal, if I remember
A
correctly.
little bit more respectful, yeah.
Yeah, but he's also
Carrera was my 4th on that list anyway.
yeah, like that's the funny part. Like the number 4 guy, like we got the number 1 guy
We got the
for
number one
less
guy.
than the other 2 guys.
Yeah, we did.
So good job, Sam Fold.
Yeah,
You did good.
we're good.
You're good. But Joe,
Don't make another splash. I think you're going to do something.
I don't know about a splash, but they'll pick up something. They might have to make a trade. Maybe it's where Reese Hoskins comes into play.
You know what? Matt Strom is now the highest paid piece in our bullpen.
Yes.
Sir Anthony, of course, is going to be back.
Mhm.
Do you think that they should have the money? They have the money. Do you think they're willing to put the money out for an Alvarez now that they gave some big bucks to Strom? And they
Is he
know
up? Is he due?
he's in arbitration. Now, I do
They
think
could-
that they need another piece in that bullpen. You know, a good name. I do.
I
Does-
mean,
does-
I
does
like what I
Alvarez,
saw.
Strom, and Sir Anthony move the needle for you as their big 3.
Yes. But you also have some other pieces I think we forget about. We got Brogdon, who I
Sure.
really liked what I saw from.
I get it.
Bailey Falter could be in there.
I think they want him more as a
Starter,
starter. Yeah.
Maybe. I
Maybe-
mean,
or maybe a long guy.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
I think they have another move out there. And really, the bullpen is really the only moves that they may need to make.
you don't want another starter. You're okay with what they have?
I think I'm all right. I think I'm all right.
How about the Yankees also taking Rodon
Rodon.
and signing some crazy money to Aaron Judge?
Aaron Judge. Yeah.
Yeah. You said that, Judge. You're like, I think we have our internal messenger, and it's just like I think you said luxury tax be damned.
Oh yeah.
It's like we just
It doesn't
just
matter.
take it away now. Like at this point, just throw it
If
away.
you're from New York, you're just like poo-poo the luxury tax. It doesn't matter if you're the Yankees or the Mets. They have FU money. Not that every team doesn't, but they're willing to go out there
Well,
and
Cohen, especially with the
put the
Mets.
pen to the paper and put the money out there. They are.
But I love this, and I love listen. The NL East is
$100 million in luxury tax. That's unbelievable.
the NL East is going to be a hell of a
Dude,
division.
I'm telling you, there has to be somewhere where the MLB steps in and be like, you know what? Like we've had enough of this. There is a luxury tax for a reason, and you're just like, it shouldn't
Why?
be.
They're the ones paying. It's not like
I know
the government's paying
They're-
it.
they're- they're-
They're getting the money. It's like a fine more than anything to them. Right?
But if every team was, and I know the Yankees have been doing this for 100 years
Yeah.
now, but really they were the only team who was doing this for about 100 years now. There should be something where almost every team should be on, no pun intended, the same playing field when it comes to signing.
It's also
these
called the
free agents.
competitive balance tax.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. There should be something where you can't go out and like, God, I know that there's different percentages when it comes to a tier of the luxury tax.
One season's 20%. Two consecutive seasons is 30. 3 or more consecutive seasons, it's 50%.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what I'm saying. Like every other league has to follow some rules here. Like if just because you're willing to pay $100 million tax, that means that you should be allowed to. I don't know. Maybe I'm
It
just
allows them to go over the threshold, however, doing the results of the team being charged the tax in overall overages.
There's going to come a
this
time
was
where
the
the MLB
collective.
steps in.
This was the collective bargaining agreement from 2017 to 2021. I'm just trying to find out where the money goes. That's what I wonder.
The tax.
Yeah, is it like just go to MLB? So
You know, I'm going to weigh in on this, and I'm probably way off, but it may go in just to a collective pool, and the money gets split up between between all the owners. I have no idea. That's just the first thought that came.
I'm
to my
just
mind.
making this all up.
Exactly. I really do.
I asked. Yeah, I got the Wikipedia. Where does the tax money go in MLB? 50% proceeds collected from the 50% of the remaining proceeds collected from the year's contract year or accrued interest will be used to fund player compensation as described in the MLB. So why would the players care? These guys are getting their big money, and the other guys are getting a small, cut of And now, before it was like you said, it was like two teams maybe. The Yankees,
Right.
and then the Dodgers join in. Now the Phillies do it, and the
Basically, it's a major market.
Padres. What do you think the Padres are doing?
They are.
I mean,
too.
like they make some big ass
Jesus.
splashes. I mean, if half the team, like
Tatis, Soto,
you know, all the
Machado,
stuff that they
Bogarts,
all the stuff they
Hader,
renegotiated leading into this season.
Darvish. Sorry, I'm just
It's right.
kidding.
But I'm saying all the things that they renegotiated going into the season. Think about it. The luxury tax can pay for it all.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's free money to them. You know, 50% shall be.
it's not right, Al. It's
and
not right.
It says the accrued interest will be used to fund player compensation, as described in MLB players benefits plan agreements, and the other 50% shall be distributed to clubs that did not exceed the base tax. So if you're not
That's what I'm saying.
so
it gets handed out
so
to the teams and the
for
owners.
the millionaires,
I was dead on.
yeah. So think about this: the millionaires are the ones that make out in this. So if your team wins, you get a lot of money. You know, you get all the praise, you get all that stuff, and you get people coming in to watch. So they're going to make money that way. So it's not competitive. What it's doing is it's balancing out how much money you make, because teams like the Pirates aren't going to do it.
Right.
You know, the Nationals, I don't see them doing it. Miami Marlins, I don't see them doing it anytime soon. So this way, they're going to get their money. They're going to be happy because they're going to get something out of the deal. I mean, maybe the fans are the only ones who lose.
Greedy jerks.
The fans are the only ones who lose in this competitive
Greedy
market.
jerks.
Oh man!
All right.
You just broke open that seal. Yeah, and that's true too. They're still playing, but yeah, that's the funny thing. Remember, what was it? What's his first name? Steve Cohen, right? The owner of the Mets. He had to take over that bill.
Yeah.
He will still be getting paid after Harper, and almost either right before or right after Turner.
Yeah, that is.
Wow.
What genius! Like I
But
feel
listen,
like every year we talk about it, we just.
But
say
think
how
about, we
genius it
see
is.
how they do this. Like they pay these guys hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's why, like we said it with Harper. Like we know the last 2 or 3 years he'll be a DH at best, maybe not playing at all. We don't even know.
Yeah.
That's how you're just spreading it out and making it affordable. They went to the farthest extreme for the time. Hold on, I know we're a little over time here,
That's
but
fine.
let me just look.
Can you imagine if you could restructure MLB contracts as well?
Yeah, right.
I mean, and these.
But what
guys
do
are
they get
making-
out of it? These guys have guaranteed money. Why would they even want to do that?
The way I'm kind of saying it is how Howie always does it, but he does it with these guys who are making like between 10 to 15 million. Like imagine if he could do it in the MLB and restructuring these guys who are making 34 to 40 million.
So what was the years that Turner got?
He got blah 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 blah.
10?
I think it was 10.
10. Okay, so Bonilla will still be
300 for
getting
10.
paid.
No, 13.
13. Or so, and then Bonilla will be getting paid
300
up to
for
the
13.
same time. So
300 for 12.
the
Somebody correct me, please.
So Bonilla they worked out an agreement, addendum to the Mets after he was released in 2000.
Mhm.
Instead of paying $5.9 million still owed, so $6 million, not even, right? To him following the 99 release, the team agreed to pay Bonilla $1.19 million every July 1st from 2011 through 2035. So we went from $6 million to $25 million.
Right.
I don't understand that. I mean, I understand.
Maybe it's some type of special write-off.
I understand that you can't, maybe you couldn't afford $6 million. Can
you imagine?
But it's year 2000. I mean, $6 million is a lot, but not a lot at the same time. I mean,
for an MLB team, the team
yeah,
who is now $100 million into the luxury tax. This is what we're talking about. Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla's Mets contract sold for 180 grand at auction.
Wow.
The paper contract.
Like, can you imagine the reaction of Bobby Bonilla when he heard, we'll pay you $1 million
I'll tell
for
you
the
right
next
now.
25 years?
Let's role play this for a second, Joe. You're his agent. Hey, they're not going to pay you the $6 million they owe you, but they're going to pay you a little over $1 million for the next 25 years, right? And I'd be like, wait, they went for that?
Right.
They said yes to that?
You mean on top of the other 100 that I've already made in my career?
Yep.
Genius.
Real man of genius. So Mets signed Bonilla a 5-year contract worth $29 million in 1991.
Wow.
That was the richest contract in team sports at the time, $29 million. Guys make that like mediocrely.
I know.
It's like nothing. He spent the first 3.5 seasons with this contract with New York before he was traded away. Bonilla won the World Series with
James Harden
Marlins.
took a major pay cut and got paid $34 million.
Yeah, right. World Series in '97 with the Marlins as part, and he was later traded back to the Mets as part of his Florida post-championship fire sale. Then he was released. The Mets released Bonilla in January of 2000, but they were still on the hook for $5.9 million a season, believing that they were poised to make significant profit through their investment with
Oh, it was
Bernie.
5 point.
That's right, the Bernie Madoff thing.
Was it the last year of his contract? Because he was being paid 5.9 per year. How many years was on his contract before they let him go?
He signed a, what was I said? Hold on, let me go back to it. He's a
Him-
$29 million, a 5-year contract for $29 million in
Okay.
'91.
How was he released in 2000?
They must have, when they made the trade, and maybe they extended him in Miami, because Miami won in '97. They traded him the next year, so it's only maybe they extended him for a couple of years.
Possible, I guess.
Well, I guess they, I don't know how that works out, but they released him, and they thought they were going to make a ton of money with Bernie Madoff. This is a true story.
The Ponzi stuff.
Yeah. Mets owner instead agreed to defer Bonilla's salary with 8% interest and spread it over 25 years from 2011 to 2035.
Wow.
So they kicked the can down the road because he would have to
Right,
wait to 2011 to start getting paid. Well, the scheme fell apart. Duh. We all know how that played out. 5.9 million swelled to 29.8 million from 2000 to 2011. The guy's not even playing baseball at this point. So 29.8 million divided by 25 years equals 1.1 million, 1.19 million in the payment. Oh my God! Actually, our buddy Hollywood Holbrook, who's been on the show a couple of times, that's one of his favorite drinking holidays. Bobby Bonilla Day. We used to go out, like we would go to the bar, like, happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Nice.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh my God.
The Mets suck. Merry Christmas.
The Mets better bring back Bobby Bonilla to DH.
Seriously.
I'm a Mets fan, but getting Carrera and putting him at third is nuts. Anthony, I did not know that about you.
I didn't know that either.
I still like you, but not that much. All right, guys. Remember, this show is brought to you by our awesome sponsors. Start with PhillySportsTrips.com. Like I said, I'll be updating this graphic this week, so we'll have new stuff out there. But they have trips for the Sixers, Phillies, local trips, or big trips to the spring training, get away for a few days, anything to fit your budget. Great last minute holiday gifts because you don't got to pack it or do anything. Just go buy it, print it out, put it in a card, and say, "You're welcome. Merry Christmas" from EOP and Philly Sports Trips, and of course you because you bought it. Don't forget, if you get in any accidents, get hurt at work, car accidents, personal injury, criminal law, get your justice that you deserve. Get David R. Cherry, 610-565-0300, cherryinjurylaw.com. Like I told you guys, Dolan's is the place to watch Eagles games. Great memorabilia giveaways, cheesesteaks, wing cheesesteaks. I told you the Big D's the new one, and it's amazing. Great drink specials. You never knew who's going to stop by, except for this game. I know you guys are like, what? Except for this game. They will be closing because it's the holiday, pretty much I think at 5 o'clock. So you're not going to catch much of the Eagles Dallas game. But they will be back open for the following games. I'm sure the playoff games. You never know who's going to stop by. I think Tank was just there recently.
Yep.
I heard a couple other guys might be stopping by. Once I get confirmation, PJ will send it to me and I will relay it to you. But like I said, guys, the Christmas season, this last couple minutes, it's the 21st. You have like 3 days worth of shopping left, maybe even less if you have to give your presents earlier. Don't leave the house. Go down to your computer, go on your smartphone, go to sherrystickets.com. 10% off using the promo code EOP10. Sports, concerts, theaters, you name it. I already bought a couple presents online with them, saved a bunch of money, and made my job a lot easier. I'm going to make some people very happy this holiday season. You go nowhere else for your tickets but sherrystickets.com. Joe, Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Brother.
I know we'll talk to each other, sure.
I know.
But Merry Christmas to all you guys. Guys, another great year. Technically, Edge of Philly Sports is coming up on their anniversary next week. So right around our next episode on next Wednesday, we will be hitting year 5.
Year 6.
Is it 6? 2017, right? Yeah.
Year 5, year 6.
Yeah. Matty B celebrated his 1 year with EOP the other day. I know Patterson FNX is coming up on their 5-year anniversary. We know we just celebrated a big one with the boys at Philly Press Box Radio a few months back. So a lot of cool things coming. We're
Yeah,
really
man.
excited. I feel like I say that every other month, but there really is
That's
some
because
cool
there's
things.
so much going
There
on.
really is so much going on, and just kind of balancing it out and get it all for you guys. Hey, you two, before you end the show, what's your favorite Christmas song? How about none of them?
Mm,
People don't know me. I'm not a much of a Christmas music guy.
and Sync, whichever one that one's called.
Oh, I didn't know NSYNC had a Christmas song.
They got one. It's not that bad.
The new Eagles.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be anything that,
yeah,
that
anything on
those
there.
three are singing.
But if I had to pick one, actually, people laugh at me when I say this, but the Christmas Vacation theme song is one of my favorite
It's not a
Christmas
bad one.
songs.
I mean, I like the Mariah Carey one. Like, I don't care. It's Christmas music, whatever.
Anthony, Merry Christmas to you guys. Don't drink too much hardcore eggnog. Don't tell me what to do,
Oh,
Ant.
yeah, no, you could absolutely
You can
bet on that.
guarantee it. Listen, you guys might
You
get
can bet on that.
some drunk messages from EOP throughout the night, especially after the Cowboys. If we beat the Cowboys, it'll be very interesting.
Christmas Eve, I got a bottle of Bullet.
Oh yeah, I love Bullet. I actually I get my bottle broken out. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
Guys, here's the lineup. So if you missed anything, it's go back and check on all our social media. YouTube is the best place. Please subscribe there if you have not done it yet. Tomorrow, Birds IQ will be live with Kyle Quinn and TK running the boards, and also the attacking third will cover, wrap up the World Cup and things that come with Philadelphia Union. And then Friday, Kelly Green and Hour will be back. The old school show, which is always just a fun show, just talking about. The last one was a great premise. The greatest D-bags of all time of Philly sports, and they had some good points there, as well as Clear the Ice post game show. And then Saturday, you'll see P&M in the AM a day early. You'll see Patterson Ave an hour later, and all across all the time. And that will be it for the rest of the week from the EOP crew. I want to wish those guys here we love you. Enjoy your Merry Christmas. We'll see you guys when we have some great things into the new year. But on that note, I'm Big Al.
Merry Christmas and go Birds from Joe Shear.
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?